I mean, my dad's like the most calm guy ever, but I mean, when you're about to tell him he's quitting over a six-figure sales salary to dive into entrepreneurship and make no money. The decision to leave my job actually came almost to my surprise. So I was working on a project, and or rather, it's a monthly thing we do where we kind of close out the quarter or close out the month numbers wise, and then project that onto our boss so then they can report that up to higher, so we can just have this overall monthly close, etc. And I was very not motivated to do it, and I was kind of at this point where the previous month close, my boss had said, network with the guys in the office, really learn how to do this, sit down with them, go through it. I want them to show you how to do it. And I deprioritized that. I didn't do it, to be honest. And I met with my boss, and do what I'm good at is BSing, right? It's sad, but I'm good at it. And so I was able to kind of skate a little bit by this really crappy month close, where basically I'm projecting numbers that aren't there. Like I'm making this crap up, more or less. And he saw right through that. He's like, this is not a month's worth of work. He's like, did you even meet with them? Like, it became very clear that I was a half-ass employee. And I just stepped back from that, and it was a late meeting. It was like a 3 p.m. phone meeting, which I wasn't in the office for. I took it over the phone, which I wasn't supposed to do. So I hit this point where like, I feel like crap. My boss is like, dude, you need to redo this. You need to redo it, and I want to meet with you next week, and I want this stuff like flushed out. And I'm like, holy shit, like this is gonna be a weeks long work, right? 9 to 5, like actual work, maybe even 8 to 5, to get all this stuff and these numbers crunched, all these accounts projected, like monthly numbers, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, I can't do it. Like I have this company's Soul Shorts to run, and that's a full-time job in itself. And right, there's periods where I kind of dive off into some of the day-to-day with that, but then it comes up full force, and I'll have to do 4,000 things in one day. And I'll have to call these people, and I gotta schedule meetings here, and I gotta get these designs out, and I gotta build the e-commerce site, and I'm telling you, like starting a company, you gotta be a jack of all trades to some extent to start, and then you gotta find people, right, to help you. But I just got like mental overload. I was so plagued with like, oh my God, like I can't do this. Where the thought of leaving my job became very real because of the fear I had in staying there. Not the fear I had of leaving there, but the fear I had in staying there really was, I think, the precipice for this. And so I did what I really think was the 100% the best thing to do was, I put in my 2 weeks notice. Actually, it wasn't the next day, but it was the Friday. So that happened on the close on a Wednesday. Kind of got chewed out, had some time to reflect on it Thursday, and Friday, I sat down with my boss and told him that I was putting in my 2 weeks and that I was resigning from the position that I just like formally got 2 months ago or a month and a half ago. It's like you try telling your boss that. It's like everything I've worked for the last 9 months or let's say 6 months of training, I'm about to just throw away now that I got the perfect office in the perfect state of Colorado and have literally the most laid back sales role, an account management role because of my accounts. And now I'm about to throw that away and go dive into entrepreneurship and make probably no money for the first like 6 months. So like mentally, right, most people would be like, what the are you talking about? Like, what are you even considering now? And man, I was fired up. Like I went in there and like, obviously it was this weird thing where I like called the ethics office at the company. I called like the HR part or the HR line. And I was like, how do you handle something like this? Like, do I need to tell them where I'm going? Do I need to tell them? And they're like, obviously if you're not going to a competitor, you don't really owe him any explanation. However, it's like courtesy to do 2 weeks, blah, blah. So I'm like, perfect, whatever. So I scheduled him on Friday, but it's kind of funny. I actually decided to tell my parents that I'd be stepping down from my job on the Thursday. And my parents, I mentioned my dad, just very laid back guy, very by the book, very employee, and God bless him, right? Thank God he is. He's a hard worker. That's where I got my hustle from, is my grandfather and my mom's side and my dad. And my uncle obviously to the side, but these guys really instilled in me a level of work ethic. Even all my grandparents, a level of work ethic just second to none. Like they just didn't do it for themselves. They had a family to feed, and they had like mouths to feed, and they had cars to pay for and houses to pay for. And so anyway, this kind of hard work mindset, and that transition obviously into my business. But I told my mother first, sorry, and my mom and I are just super close. And she, I think, realizes that I'm different, maybe a little bit more so than my dad. And my dad sees it as he has to support me now, let's say. So like if this doesn't work and I have to go back to a job, which I would more than willingly do to make ends meet, in the interim, like to be fully honest, like my parents have had to cover me a bit, like loan me money until I have the income coming in, from whether that's my business or my second business that I have now, or even, driving for Lyft and Uber. Like I'm willing to do anything I can to make ends meet because that's how much I believe in what I'm doing. And once again, as an investor, which is really what all of us are to any extent, you have to give up comfort and, enjoyment now for the future and for the hope of enjoyment and hope of more comfort and hope of wealth in the future. Give it up now for the investment for the future. On any level, from your body and your health, you got to give up the cookie. You got to give up, eat the salad, and you can't have the cake because you're going to have a better body in a year. You're going to have a better body in a week, whatever it may be, whatever time scale. So anyway, I told my mom, and didn't go that bad. I was very surprised. And she knows me. Like, she really knows me. She knows that I'm different. And we didn't really realize that until I made this decision. She's like, how are you going to do this? And my mom's really good at finances. So luckily, I was like, I need your help. I need your help watching my account because I'm a consumer. Like, unfortunately, and I'm working on that mindset shift from consumer to producer, which is my company, right? Is I'm producing a good. But I'm a heavy consumer, or at least I was, because I had the income for that, right? I can go out and party and spend a couple $100s on one night, like just buying my friends drinks, because I love to do that. Man, I love kind of projecting my whether it's money or whether it's attention onto my friends, because at the end of the day, I love my friends, and I mean that's what makes me happy is providing for them, and that's where that initial drive comes in. But anyway, it went really well, and she was like, well, I need to tell your dad about this because if you do this, my dad's like the most calm guy ever, but I mean, when you're about to tell him he's quitting over a 6-figure sales salary to dive into entrepreneurship and make no money yet, right? And my parents aren't entrepreneurs. My mom kind of sees the potential, and that's why she believes in me, but she believes in me as a son first. But she sees the potential, and she, like, who she's talked to has kind of shown her a lot more of the potential, and just people know me. Like our investors, they're not investing in Soul Shorts, they're investing in me and my team, right? And so, because they know I can do it. And I think that that's the foundation of where my mom kind of was very comfortable helping me make this leap and telling my dad. And so once she told my dad, his first thing is, well, what, are we gonna have to support him, right? And he kind of made this offhanded comment, which I think they're gonna love that I shared this, or maybe not, my dad. But he was like, "Oh, great! We gotta." My younger sister is a junior in college, and she goes to the University of Arizona, and she's or maybe a sophomore. Shit, that's bad. I don't know. But regardless, so she's studying in college right now, and she's down in summer school, and they're having to help her out a little bit. Luckily, my sister's a lot better with money than I am managing it, so she's able to help a little bit, but. They're supporting her, and her, they've got loans for my school too, so they're making ends meet. They don't have a surplus of money. My family's very, I think by the book upper middle class, but by the reality of it's like more. I think of it as middle class because now I've seen kind of the upper echelon of like wealth, and my uncle's has been able to achieve that, being in a high, a C-suite employee, and big time guy in certain companies, but then. They don't have, my parents, just the reality is they don't have a surplus of money. And I mean, duh, right? I mean, my goal is to, have a surplus for myself and my best friends and my family and my legacy, and my kids and my, wife, whatever. But yeah, my parents just right now don't have that. So my dad's comment was, he's like, oh, so we got to pay all these bills, and on top of that, I got to support my son for the rest of my life. We got to support Josh for the rest of his life. Because and I mean, my dad says kind of these offhanded comments as like a little bit of a joke, but there's some truth to it in that he has fear of having to support me, and I just know that it's okay to take on that fear from him right now, because I know I can pay it back. Like I know it's gonna hit a point where like they're gonna start to reap some of the rewards of it. And obviously because I owe it to them first. Man, my parents are amazing, right? Just the fact that they'd come around to the idea of me quitting my job. And so it all came to, okay, like I told him, I'm not asking for your permission. And that takes some balls to say, right? I mean, I'm not asking you to quit, like if I can quit my job, I'm telling you. And obviously respectfully, but I'm asking you to support me. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for your permission. I'm not asking for your guidance, because I know what I'm going to do and I know how I'm going to do it. But you necessarily don't. I help to explain a lot of that to them, but it's on me. So I'm not asking. I'm just going to let you know what I'm doing out of respect. And so pretty much a week goes by of me not working at all for this company. I pretty much just work remotely. The boss had told the team kind of prematurely, and I felt kind of like crap. Because a lot of these guys really mean a lot to me. I mean, they still do, right? These guys are just, on their grind and just selling to their customers and living their lives, right? And I really do care about people. I love people. They're what gives me my energy to live, right? Just, engaging with people. So when I first got at the office, I just loved all these guys, and it was such an amazing office to be in. But, my boss had told kind of the team prematurely, and I felt a little bit like, and then he put me on kind of blast on the phone. He's like, can you explain kind of like, you want to say a few words? And I'm like, how am I about to explain to these guys what I'm about to do? I was like, hey guys, first, I'm a big fan of gratitude, right? So I was like, guys, honestly, I'm so grateful that I got deployed to this office. I'm just grateful for all the relationships and how great of peers you all have been to me, and how much you've kind of helped me kind of ramp into my role. But for right now, I need to pursue a passion outside of sales, or outside of at least this type of sales. And I think they got it. I think a lot of them really do get it, because I think they've seen a little bit of me outside of work where like they really know I'm really passionate, but maybe not so much passionate about where I currently was. So I think they understood, and so I kind of went like off the radar for like a week, and then the second week I had a smaller project, just an account profile that I had to complete, and then I had to turn in on my final Friday. And over this time, my parents and I had kind of worked out where we had kind of budgeted, okay, I have a student loan to pay because I quit, or I gave my 2 weeks notice midway through the month. So that was perfect, because my last day of the month would be my last day at the company. And so we'd worked this all out. We'd worked out kind of what payments are going to get made, and luckily I still had a couple paycheck or one more paycheck coming in. And then on top of that, my prorated bonuses, all that for sales commissions. Thank the Lord, right? So, because I did owe the company money for all the benefits I had taken prior to that to get me to where, relocation, a signing bonus, because you're all contractually obligated to repay that. Yeah. So we're talking I originally thought that I would owe the company upwards of $10,000. Luckily, when it came down to it and all was kind of said and done, which it's still really not yet, but it's a lot closer to, I would say let's ballpark 5,000, which is, thank the Lord, thank whoever, right? So, but yeah, we had figured out, me and my parents, how I'm gonna do this, and then finally, when I finished that last profile and my last work, and packaged up all the emails I had completed and to my accounts, packaged those up for the guys who were taking over on these accounts. I delivered everything to my boss the final day, the last day of the month. So my last day, the final day of the month, when I was going in and meeting with my boss to kind of deliver my computer, my badge, all that jazz in this final project. Luckily, when the day I'd met with him and submitted my 2-week notice of resignation, I really got kind of deep. I didn't owe him any explanation, but I think, him and I had kind of a personal bond too, because he had been an investor in a couple things, and he had kind of known that like entrepreneurial side before he had returned to kind of the corporate side. So he had had a lot of success in that realm. So when he saw and kind of heard about what I was doing, I think that, we did talk a lot more about it. And I think he was like, I knew something was up, but I didn't know what it was with you, right? I knew you weren't 100% devoted to this job. And I was like, to be honest, I don't want to be a 50% employee. And then I told him what I was passionate about. And he's like, man, he really gave me a lot of credit and a lot of props for, leaving such comfort for a risk and to take this big risk. But he also, sees the drive and really that I'm more passionate about this than I ever was about the company that I was working at. So anyway, that was kind of the 2-week notice. And then the final day was very straightforward. He really kind of walked me through, and I'm so grateful that he did, kind of how the sales bonus is going to come in and like a couple other things and like your time off, right? Which I hadn't even calculated into my total repayment. So I'm like, sweet, like more money, right? So owing them less. So yeah, the last day was something else. I had told at this point, my grandmother knew, and I have one remaining grandparent, and it's my mom's mom, and she is a hustler herself. Put herself through college and really made a dent in the education sector. And so she had known, she knew, and a few select, I guess one of my cousins had known, and a couple of my friends. I was not making this a big thing because this is not really, it's no one's business at the end of the day, and I wasn't bragging about it because I haven't made a ton of money in my company yet at this point. So it wasn't something that I was kind of voicing a lot yet. I think that my goal is to record a video kind of my last day about it, but honestly, like I was so, one of my friends at the time, her and I were talking, and like she was actually leaving her job coincidentally at the same time to go all in on kind of fitness and the coaching and the nutrition stuff that she does. So we both kind of were in this weird like thing where, you're leaving a company and you got to be kind of selfish in that you're leaving the company for yourself. But then obviously you don't want to make, you want to leave very, respectfully, and you want to be a good person to all your coworkers, because really at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to strain in your absence, or, to help kind of take up some of the slack. So my last day was, in terms of emotional kind of thing, like I remember I worked out in the morning. I got to the office at about 10, and I visited this little cafe we have, and got like, I eat more of like kind of a keto diet. So I was like bacon, just scrambled eggs and like veggies, right? So I got this like awesome dish that I always order, like blah, blah, blah. Saw all the ladies in the cafe because they all love me. So anyway, went back to the office, finished my project, met with my boss, and then I was out of there. And when I made it out of the office and I sat down in my car, and just knowing that I didn't have this responsibility anymore, it really, like just thinking about it, just like the weight was lifted off my shoulders. Like this thing that I'd been faking for so long was gone. And it was like so empowering. And that day, I really made a commitment to myself at the end of the day, and even the most important people in my life, like I'm never gonna do something I don't want to do again. Like I'm not. Like I'm all for, I know a lot of people say like, sometimes you can't always have what you want. You got to do stuff you don't like to do, to make ends meet or whatever, which I agree to some extent. Like I might not love to do, like, I don't know, let's say the website design on our website, but I get it done, right? And I think that's kind of where a lot of people misconfuse that. So in that context, for sure, you got to do stuff you don't like to do, or don't love to do rather. But a lot of people, you can't love everything, you gotta do that, blah, blah, blah. And I just made a commitment to myself that day. I was like, I will never do something I don't want to do or I don't love doing, and I'm not passionate and I don't have passion behind doing again. And it was such a differentiator. And it plays anywhere from my relationships, whether that's with friends or like, significant others, whatever. it's gonna play in every aspect of my life, and health even. Like I've just been fully devoted to health and listening to podcasts. How do we optimize the body, right? You want your body to burn fat, not glucose. Like, so I'm just going 120 on everything. And that's the life that I'm now living, and I can feel it, right? I can feel it. Like I'm just invigorated all the time. And whether that's the supplementation, like I'm kind of, like I said, more trying to get into ketosis, which is basically, right, your fat or your mitochondria and your cells running on fat for fuel versus glucose. So lower carb and higher fat diet, good fats, and away from the kind of American mentality that we've been lied to about, which is high carb, low fat, which is complete BS, which comes from a study way too long ago by Ansel Keys, basically made the food pyramid, right? Or influenced the modern day American food pyramid, which is BS. Regardless. So now I don't know whether it's my new supplementation with like brain octane oil and kind of this high fat diet, or if it's leaving my job and starting not one, but now a second company on top of that in the interim, while my shorts are like in their final prototype phase and about to go to buyers. And then, something that's really important. So in this transition, like I said, so I'm fired up. It's the weirdest thing. And my friends are like, dude, you're doing it. Like, you're doing it. Like, we knew you would, but we didn't know you'd do it this soon. And like, we're here to support you. I mean, my friends are like down to, for 4th of July, we went down, me and 2 friends, to San Diego. It's my best friend, then another friend that we recently met she's an awesome human, just super high achiever, like both of us. So, they're like, at the end of the day, they're like paying for me to go out, which pains me because I'm always the person who pays. And I mean, all my friends have that, right? Like, I'm not friends with people who are stingy with their money, who are like, I only take care of myself. Because I'm not that type of person, nor do I want friends like that at the end of the day. So anyway, I mean, one of my friends who I'm living with currently, he's offering to help me with my mortgage. Like another friend of mine, is willing, from college, is willing to lend me money, like thousands of dollars investment in my company. My best friends, the guy and the girl, and one of them is helping me with Soul Shorts, and then the other is she's very successful on her own, and she's going to help represent the company to get into retail stores and wholesale deals, etc. And I'm really kind of like weighing a lot on them, and obviously it doesn't feel good because it's not right. Because I want to be the provider, I want to be the right, but like, and they both have that mindset too of like providing for others and stuff, which is beautiful because I'm really taking a gamble and taking a risk, and I'm not weighing people down by any means, but I'm definitely not stretching their giving tolerance or whatever. They're helping me. They're helping me, and they're helping my vision, and they're believing in me by showing me and helping me, and even to the extent of assisting me in the company's growth, in getting these shorts to market. So there's just so much stuff going on right now, and it's just so exciting that I'm just so fueled with passion and just burning like every minute of every day. And I'm not sleeping much, which I'm trying to get a lot more sleep because obviously it's so important, so restorative. But I'm just fired up right now, and it's weird. I can see it in every aspect of what I'm doing right now, anywhere from, like I mentioned, health and kind of me being like a wannabe fitness expert, and embodying a lot of these new principles that I'm learning. All the way to my relationships, even friends, and with others, with girls and stuff, whatever. And like, it's just the weirdest flip of the switch. And I don't know if that's because of me leaving my company and kind of leaving that weight behind, but I'm loving it, and so I'm more driven than ever, and I'm just working my face off right now. I'm just working to crush it, so I'm loving it.